What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj, and today we're going to be addressing this comment, and I've been asking a lot for comments down below, and I really didn't have any ideas today, and I saw this, and I thought, hey, Cody brought up a great idea down in the comments here, and I'm thinking, hey, this is definitely a good topic. I know I made a video about the Raptors, if they're contenders or not. If you haven't seen that, please go check that out, but I did make a video about the Toronto Raptors, and, you know, they've been very good so far this season. Have to give them credit on that. But are they a legit contender to make the NBA Finals? And we're going to talk about, can the Torontos make the NBA Finals in the next couple years? Because it's a legitimate question. And everybody I know is wondering, what's going to be the year where LeBron James doesn't make the Finals? When is it going to happen? And this is something that is often debated in basketball because it's one of the craziest things. I don't think people really appreciate quite enough how great LeBron James is and how he's able to get his team there every single year, despite really anything that might be going on. It seems like it's even easy for him to get to the NBA Finals. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment another idea like this one, a good idea that I can make a video about, and I will use these suggestions. You know, probably more now it's winter break and there's gonna be less stuff to talk about. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, and subscribe if you're new. I have a gaming channel as well. Links in the description. Now, we're going to talk about the Raptors. We're really going to be talking about, you know, what year LeBron's going to fall off and, you know, what team is going to steal that Eastern Conference championship away from LeBron James. And, well, I'm guessing that he's going to be on the Cavs for the rest of his career. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Unless, you know, you guys have some LeBron James teaming up with Chris Paul, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade in LA or some shit like that conspiracy. Because there's someone at school who I talked to that, you know, he supposed Cavs fan saying that he thinks that LeBron's going to team up with those three guys in LA and he wants him to, and I'm like, dude, look, it doesn't make any sense, because, you know, if you're a Cavs fan, why would you want him to leave? Anyway, I should be back on topic. We're talking about the Raptors today, and, you know, are they championship material? Are they finals material? A lot of people might say no, a lot of people might say yes. But if the Cavs weren't in the Eastern Conference, the Toronto Raptors would definitely be a favorite to be in that NBA title. And it's really because they're the most complete team in the East besides Cleveland. Everybody else has their problems. You look at the 3 through maybe 10 seeds or 11 seeds, even 12 seeds, everybody is separated by 3 or 4 games. It's like, if you can get a win, you could go up 3 seeds if, you know, the right teams get losses on that same night. It's pretty crazy. That, you know, 3 to 12 group led by the Boston Celtics, who I anticipated being the second best team in the East this year, doesn't look like that's going to happen just because Boston hasn't been nearly as consistent as they should have been, as we expected them to be, and they're likely going to be trying to get that draft pick in the 2017 NBA draft, which is apparently a loaded draft class, and then, you know, maybe they make a few trades, get a few more prospects. You know, they might make that big trade that we anticipated them doing for so long for a superstar. They can finally make a championship team. But until then, I don't know about the Boston Celtics. To be honest, if that's what Danny Ainge and the Celtics decide to do, if they want to get a really good draft pick in this upcoming draft, I believe they do have Brooklyn's draft pick for this year and probably next year, because Brooklyn gave them literally all their draft picks from that Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade. I believe that the Boston Celtics are going to get a pick in the 2017 draft, a really good one, and then make a trade for a superstar player, i.e. DeMarcus Cousins, someone that, you know, could be doing, that's on a mediocre or bad team, that's really good, that could help them out, that could score the basketball, that could be a superstar player for them. So we're thinking about DeMarcus Cousins, Paul George, John Wall, Jimmy Butler, types of players, not necessarily those players, but, you know, it all starts with DeMarcus Cousins. He's the main guy that they're looking at because we all know he's got to get traded. It has to happen. I need it to happen, and the Boston Celtics are looking to trade for a superstar, so it makes complete sense. But until then, the Raptors are the best. They have the best chance to knock off Cleveland. And let's talk about, are they going to be better? It's pretty crazy how the Raptors have transcended themselves into one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, because a few years ago we were looking at them as a 3 seed and it was pretty crazy, right? Because they had a pretty nice squad. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Terrence Ross. They're powerful. Who was the? I'm like forgetting who they had, because I know they had Valanciunas. Was Patterson there at that point? I don't know. They had Amir Johnson. That's who they had. And that team was actually really good, and it was younger than it is now. Of course, Valanciunas and DeRozan have experienced a lot more through those years. Terrence Ross has grown, and believe it or not, he's become actually a much better player. A lot of people thought that he was just gonna be that 6th, 7th man that just was streaky off the bench, but he's actually had a terrific year this year off the bench. Bench players are actually more valuable than people think, believe it or not. Corey Joseph is a great backup point guard for that squad. And, I love that backcourt of Toronto. I think it's been the best backcourt in the NBA so far this season. Yes, I do. I think DeMar DeRozan's had a better season than Klay Thompson. And honestly, Kyle Lowry has had about, him and Stephen Curry, it's not been far off. Kyle Lowry's been much more efficient. He's been shooting a better percentage from the three-point line. He's been making a ton of three-point shots. He's doing a lot for that squad, defending better. I don't think that him and Stephen Curry have been that far apart throughout this season. So I stand by my claim that the Toronto Raptors have had the best backcourt this year. Now, we get into the whole thing about who are they? What's their identity? What makes them a championship team? Because we look, and I'm not saying they're necessarily a championship team, because the question was, are they in the finals? Are they going to be in the finals in the next 2 to 3 years? Well, obviously, if they can beat the Cavs, then they'll be in the finals. They're the best team in the East, but besides the Cavs. But, you take a look at great teams. You look at the Warriors. You look at all their strategies. They're so... I don't think the Raptors have enough of an identity. Who are they? The Golden State Warriors, we know who they are. They're shooting. They like to pass the ball around the perimeter, get open shots. They have some great shooters. They move the ball like crazy. So many touches. San Antonio Spurs, kind of the same thing, but now they're playing a little bit more around Kawhi Leonard, the two-way monster, a guy that can set people up, a guy that can get to the basket, score, hit jump shots, do literally everything there is to do on the basketball floor. And they have some great role players around him that they've had forever, veterans who know how to win. The Cavaliers, it shouldn't need to be said. LeBron James, surrounded by shooters and a great defensive rebounding center, or, rebounding and defensive center, that's Tristan Thompson. That's what you need for LeBron to succeed in the championship. We know the Warriors, the Spurs, and the Cavs, how they win games, what their game plan is. For the Raptors, we look at them, we think, okay, well, they got a dynamic backcourt. Kyle Lowry can snipe from way downtown. DeMar DeRozan can get you buckets anytime you want. And Lowry's basically the guy that makes everything happen. They got an active big man down low in Valanciunas that does a lot for them. And I'm still looking for him to take a bigger leap, because I see a lot of potential in a guy like him. But for the Raptors, when they get to the playoffs, it's like they lose a lot of what they had. And we've seen this in past years. And what I was going to say earlier in the video is that, the Toronto Raptors end up just wowing you with how much better they've become. As I said, they were a 3rd seed, I believe. Again, and they lost to the Nets in the first round. They were a 4th seed. They lost to the Wizards in the first round. People thought they wouldn't be better than what they were. They broke the franchise record for wins. I believe they had 56 last year, became a 2nd seed, and actually got out of the first 2 rounds. And this year, they've been just as good as they were, and they've actually had a phenomenal year. Their point differential is fantastic. They've been hot lately, 8-2 out of their last 10. They've been a really consistent team, 20-8 at the moment. And I think that, they just keep impressing people. People say they can't get better, but this team continues to get better. And they've got good young players with some veterans, and I think that's a really good thing for them. Now, what they need in order to win a championship, or at least to get to the championship, to dethrone Cleveland, they're going to need a team that surrounds. They just need, I think, better role players. When you look at their starting lineup, and I don't even know, because they've had some different small forwards starting. DeMarre Carroll, that dude's always injured. I don't really know what's up with him. But what I do know is that I don't think this team's role players are good enough. You look at their stars. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry are a legit dynamic duo in the league. These guys can absolutely ball. And I think that that duo is going to have no problem doing things at a high level. I don't really see any reason why these guys, and I'm sorry, I made a mistake. DeMarre Carroll is their starter, but he was, out for a few games, so they had Norman Powell starting in place. What I was going to say is that, you have this guy, Pascal Siakam, who started all the games at power forward because of the injury to Jared Sullinger, but I don't know if Jared Sullinger is a good enough role player at power forward. Their forward slots I don't think are good enough. I think they got to upgrade those. They have DeMarre Carroll at small forward, and when healthy, they're going to have Jared Sullinger at power forward. Those guys both get injured. They're both injured right now, and they don't have enough forward depth, I don't think. I think that's going to be what kills them in the end, because you're going to need good forwards. You're going to need someone that can guard LeBron. I know that DeMarre Carroll should be up to that task, but it takes so much to stop a guy like that, and I don't know if they have it. Patrick Patterson has always been reliable. I don't think he gets enough attention for what he does for that team. But in the end, I just don't know if those players are good enough. And Jonas Valanciunas, he should be better than 12 points per game. I think that he should, score more of the points that are acclimated by, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and him. I think he should have a larger percent of those points scored. Because I do think that Jonas Valanciunis should have, I think that he's a really good player, and people need to really realize he's got to show people why he's a big-time center in the league, but I haven't seen him do that. We know DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry can play, but how far can they take this team? How much potential do these young guys have? And I think they do need a big-name free agent. I think they need one more guy. I think that will push them over the edge. I think that will make them legit contenders. So this year, obviously, I don't have them in the NBA Finals. 2 years, 3 years from now, they get some good developments. Unfortunately, I don't know how good Kyle Lowry can be. I don't know how long he can stay this good because he's old. He's 30. DeMar DeRozan, he's got plenty of years to be great, so I'm not worried about him. I think got to continue building around DeMar DeRozan. Jonas Valanciunas, he's just got to get better. Terrence Ross, he's been good. He's going to continue to get better, I think. And they're young guys. Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Lucas Nogueira, Jakob Poeltl. They got a lot of guys on that team that could be really good players that are young. I think there is a chance that they could win, that they could get to the title in the next 2 to 3 years. And if anyone's going to knock off the Cavs, it's going to be either them or the Celtics, depending on if the Celtics do this whole thing right and initiate trade for a superstar and get a good pick in the 2017 draft or whatever they end up doing. But they could be a scary team as well. But I do think there's a chance for the Raptors. I need that forward position to be upgraded. I need them to get somebody. If their young players can't develop into good, solid players that can play big minutes for this team in playoff time, because we know they've struggled in the playoffs, then I think it's a no-go. But, if things can go right, and I can say this for a lot of teams, but things can definitely go right for this team. Their offense is fantastic, and, they're playing great basketball. It's just, the only thing I got to focus on is beating the Cavs and how they're going to do that. That's why I think they need upgraded forward spots, but let me know in the comments what you think the answer to this is, and if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.